Let's move on and talk about esports. And you know what? Actually, let's check in on how a battle is going on right now.
Boss uses the shape splitter. Hooney trying to get the damage down, but Boss flashes away. Lira with the first blood, and Alison going in. Void Seeker chases him down, and Hooney can't get away.
And now Lira's trapped.
Stuck, and with the rest of the unicorns coming in, Lira trying to get away, but he's not yet level 6. Nomad jumps forward. That's 2 for the unicorn.
Oh, that sounded intense.
I know. And that's basically how it is the whole time.
Yeah.
And that was, just so everyone knows, that wasn't like a real live humans playing sports. That was a game.
That was a game.
And there's an announcer describing the people playing the game.
Yeah, Team Clutch Gaming versus Unicorns of Love. And I mean, to imagine it, it's basically a bunch of chaos and mythical creatures kind of like attacking each other, but I have no idea, absolutely zero idea what I'm watching. I just know that it's intense.
Yeah.
So we have these intense epic games where people come together, and Fortnite too, and then they battle against each other, and it's turned into a sport.
Yep.
Like football.
A spectator
A spectator sport.
I mean, it's fascinating, and I know it's difficult for a lot of people to wrap their minds around, but the fact of the matter is, number one, esports is a thing. It's growing. It's not going anywhere, okay? So just because you don't get it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. But in its simplest definition, esports is a form of competition with video games. But the way I try to explain it to people is think about when you sit down to watch a basketball game or a football game or a baseball game. You're sitting down watching a sport or a game that you are interested in, and you're watching people who are better than you do it and do it at a high level. That is what esports is. I mean, you're sitting there watching teams compete, and presumably you're watching because you're interested in the actual game that they're playing. And so esports is something that has actually been around for a long time. It's really just starting to gain more traction now because I think the growth in the number of people who are participating, the market opportunities that exist out there, it's too much for some of these companies to not pass up. And so we've seen a lot more on esports here in the recent past.
And I'll also add that if I sit down and watch a football game on Sunday, I can't then go out and play football.
That's right.
Whereas if I watch these games and I'm an avid gamer, there's a reason why I might watch one of these, because I could learn something and then I can go and take it to when I play.
That's a really good point. I mean, I think a lot of people use things like YouTube and Twitch because they know they can watch people perform at a high level and learn how to get better. Hey, man, I use YouTube to try to figure out how to get better at painting watercolors, right?
Oh, and you're doing a fine job.
Yes,
Thank you.
are.
It's one of those things where you just constantly want to try to get better. So hopefully I'll do that for the rest of my life. And from that perspective, I mean, I can understand why esports, in theory, should be around for the rest of our lives. And if that's the case, well, then you have to believe that there are going to be competitive forces at play and market opportunities to capture.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about how esports are kind of set up, specifically when we're talking about like League of Legends, Dota. That's another game.
What?
I did some research. So you've got the game makers. So like you said, Riot Games makes League of Legends. That's owned by Tencent. Dota is Defense of the Agents, Dota 2. That's made by Valve. That's a privately held company though, right?
I believe so.
Activision Blizzard makes Overwatch and Call of Duty. So these guys kind of control the game and the world. But then you have franchises. They basically get paid by franchises. Can you explain a little bit how this works with the teams? Because it is very similar to other sports.
Well, and I was going to say that really it's easiest just to draw the parallel between any of these other sports leagues. I mean, if you go back to 2016, for example, there was an organization called Major League Gaming, which was essentially building out a league of gaming for esports. Activision Blizzard said, hey, you know what? We like this space. We want presence in it. We want to try to own it. And so Activision Blizzard bought Major League Gaming. And so you will see as time goes on, the game makers are also becoming the companies that are dictating these leagues and the way these leagues shake out. But ultimately, it is just like any other kind of sport. You've got the sporting organization, the governing body, and then you've got franchises that are going out there as a part of that league. And then you have, depending on the demand that's out there, you have any number of ways where people will be able to actually compete in those leagues, whether it's through a series of competitions to qualify or just money to pay up. But the bottom line is that, yeah, you've got the leagues, then you've got the gaming companies that participate in those leagues that make the games and help support the leagues and help monetize it.
Okay, so we've got the people that make the games, and then there's these other smaller companies that kind of build the teams. And then they have to pay franchise fees to the game makers. And then they also have to pay the actual people playing the sports, the athlete. I don't know. We don't call them athletes. Do we call them athletes? I don't know what we call them.
You probably should. You're going to offend someone if you don't. But I'll say this, it is something where at some point or another here in the near future, esports is going to be part of the Olympics.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. LA was saying that if they get the 2024 Olympics, they're thinking about including esports.
They were trying to bring it to
which I think makes Bro's head want to explode. Am I right?
They wanted to bring it to the 2024
games. Yeah, he's shaking his head.
They wanted to bring it to the 2024 games. I think they just don't feel like they're quite there yet to be able to fully seal that case. My guess is I would bet on esports being in the Olympics sooner rather than later.
Okay, and so then we also have, we got the team, we got the games, we got the franchises that manage the teams, and then we also have viewing platforms. That's another way that companies are kind of making money off of esports. So watching streams on YouTube, Twitch, that's owned by Amazon. Facebook. Twitter, all these sites. What other companies are? These are going to be companies that are going to sound more familiar to us investors, right? Like Amazon and Google or Alphabet, Facebook. Like these are names I know that are making money off of esports.
Yeah, I mean, you've got these traditional, the big players in the gaming space that we know. I mean, this is all really kind of going back to ultimately distribution. I mean, you're seeing the physical video game die away, and it's really becoming more about the digital content. And so you just need a way to get that digital content. So companies like Apple and Alphabet and Microsoft and Sony, EA Sports, they're building their own streaming services, or they already have them in most cases, so that people are able to stream those games. And then you look at other companies that are in the space. They may not be gaming companies, but like you mentioned, Facebook or Twitter or Twitch, which is Amazon owned, ESPN, which is Disney owned. I mean, any media company, any entertainment company that could stream this content looks at it as an attractive opportunity because the demand's out there for people to watch it. And so if you can work out a deal where you can stream this content on your site, then you're going to be able to monetize it through advertising, just like traditional sports has always been monetized through advertising. It's just a matter of catering to your demographic and getting the economics right.
Yeah, and so speaking of economics, there's a really great article by Cecilia D'Anastasio over on Kotaku. Basically, she's saying that all of the numbers you see about esports being this amazing thing that's going to generate $1 billion in revenue next year or whatever. She did this really great article about how it's a bubble and how esports is really not as big as we think it is. And the companies that are putting out the numbers saying that it's in competition with the Super Bowl, that there's more eyeballs than the Super Bowl. All of these people who are putting out these numbers are coming from people who are vested in seeing esports take off. So we're talking about venture capitalists, and we're talking about companies that follow the business and want, obviously, their research to do well as the industry itself does well. And so she wrote a really great article, which gets back to what I feel has been the theme of my year about how we are, if esports is a bubble, VC is a bubble. Like VC and IPOs it's like every time I'm looking into a new industry, here's the problem. It's full of VC money and it's inflating this to where it's gonna burst.
Yeah, well, VC money is very dangerous. I mean, we'll look at WeWork as the most recent example of private valuations only mean so much, right? And just because that's what a company may be valued at in a private setting doesn't mean that's how it would be valued in a public market. And in the public market is where we care, and that honestly is going to be the most efficient at the end of the day. So, I mean, I understand where she's coming from, and I won't necessarily push back on the bubble part because I actually kind of agree with it. I mean, I think when you have anything that's really new, that's getting a lot of press, that's an easy way to generate interest and get people to invest more money into it. So I think to call esports at this point overvalued on a dollar perspective is probably spot on. I don't think that's a really big problem. I would argue if she's saying that she doesn't think that esports has a future. Like if she doesn't think esports is going to grow to be as big as we think it's going to be, I mean, I would push back on that. I mean, the audience is the audience. And I mean, it's easier now to capture engagement metrics and user metrics than ever before. I mean, in 2012, the esports audience size was around 135 million. Most of those people considered themselves occasional viewers. You fast forward to 2018, we're looking at around 400 million. Again, more occasional viewers than habitual viewers, but the numbers still tell the story there. And the projections are, of course, that is going to continue to grow because when you look at the overall gaming population out there and think esports and gaming are joined at the hip, I mean, 2.6 billion gamers today, that's going to continue to grow as more and more people around the globe come online, get mobile technology, and learn how to use it.
Yeah, and no, definitely the article, and she talks to a lot of industry experts. Definitely the article is there's something here.
Yeah.
But this is hyped up and it's unsustainable. Like all of these companies, for example, the companies that are putting together the teams that they then pay the franchise cost to play the game, to have teams playing in these tournaments and things, none of them are making money, and none of them have a path to making money, essentially.
I do agree with that. Most of the pure play esports companies are not attractive investment opportunities. Like for what is out there on the public in the public market for us to consider, I wouldn't even consider it because you're right. The economics don't really work yet. Mm-hmm. There's just not enough there yet for it to really make sense from an investor's perspective, which is why we continue to recommend if people want exposure to esports, get it through the traditional gaming companies that are leading the way, because esports is going to be another facet of their business. But when you consider esports, generally speaking, I mean, listen, we live in a country now where, I mean, we have lots and lots of colleges that are building scholarships around esports and building esports facilities.
Majors,
I mean, you can actually get a college degree and go through as an esports.
To be fair, though, it's
expert.
The industry.
Right.
So it's not like necessarily like Ohio State University has a major, but it's more like if you were to go into like sports management. So it's not necessarily, at least as I understand, the major, like graduating with that degree. It's more like a sports management as opposed to you majored in
part of the overall
yeah.
degree.
Yeah. So you suggest investing in the companies that are invested in this but not pure plays. What are some that you like the most?
I mean, Activision Blizzard is the one that comes to mind first. I mean, it is the company that has been on the forefront of the gaming market for so long. We've liked it here for a long time in the Motley Fool, obviously. It's done very well for us as an investment. And, you know, it is one, like I mentioned, they bought Major League Gaming, and that was a big deal for them. I definitely think Tencent is a company to consider when you look at this space because, again, when you have that scale and that number of users and the resources that company has, a lot of different things they can do with it. And plus, I mean, you know, they have that exposure to Fortnite and other gaming properties as well that'll come down the line. And then, I mean, you can't go anywhere talking about investing and not recommend at least taking a look at Amazon, right? I mean, Amazon is big for a number of different ways, but Twitch has turned out to be a really smart acquisition that they made a number of years ago, paid around $1 billion for it, but it generates a tremendous amount of traffic, a tremendous amount of minutes viewed, and it just seems to keep on getting better. So Twitch, I think Microsoft is another good one. Microsoft has a tremendous presence in the gaming world, and I think that's only going to get better as we see more technology and mixed reality coming out. So those are a few, at least, that come to mind.
Yeah.
Every day when I go home, I play my Xbox. One game.
Oh, really?
Star Wars Battlefront.
Oh, that's a fun game.
That's the way I go. Yeah, every day.
It's a fun game.
But just one game, not more than one. Got to limit it. Otherwise, man.
Would you play until morning?
I would play quite a while.
Yeah.
DNF willpower.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Stock Advisor, and so I just want to let our listeners know that if they're looking for stock ideas and recommendations, that they can sign up for Stock Advisor. You'll get stock recommendations from Tom and David Gardner every month, Best Buys Now, and a whole lot more. They can go to saoffer.fool.com, and we've got a special 50% discount for our listeners. So again, check it out at stands for Stock Advisor, offer.fool.com.
I do want to say one more thing, because this is a 50,000 foot view of the gaming industry and esports and how that all works together. I mean, anybody who's interested in this space, anybody at all, you need to make sure you go check out. You know Aaron Bush. You know the name here, I'm sure. You can follow him on Twitter at AaronBush100. But Aaron has a site that he's built that he's working on. It's called Master the Meta. It's a project that is all based around gaming and esports. Aaron is he's a big gamer. He's very, very knowledgeable of the space, and I look to him often to get ideas and thoughts on it as well. So if you are interested in this space at all, follow Aaron on Twitter. Check out his site, Master the Meta, because I've looked through it already. It is a lot of stuff, a lot of very educational stuff coming from what I consider to be an expert in the field.
I considered you an expert in the field. Did
I'm
I invite the wrong person on the show?
You can have two experts, right? You can have two experts, right?
Oh, okay. I guess we need to do a do-over with Aaron sitting there. No, I value your opinion too.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.